Michael Jackson Exposed.
Over the years, so much has been said about Michael's drastically altered appearance. From speculation about plastic surgery to his rare skin disorder, Michael's health issues have always made headlines.
It looks like he may have had some eyelid surgery to kind of tighten the corners and change the shape a little bit.
It looks as though they took a skin graft maybe from behind his ear or someplace and put it on top of his nose. He has cartilage that is really poking through the skin. I suspect he's had some sort of a brow lift procedure also.
Michael's ever-changing appearance has raised a lot of speculation about the possible procedures he's had performed on him. He admits to getting his nose fixed after it was broken in the 70s, but the 3 experts we talked to believed he's had more than that.
Now the nose is looking even shorter. It's starting to look more pug. I think he's got the chin implant there. It looks like he's got the cheek implants. He may have had the fat suctioned out of his cheeks also, below the cheekbones.
He lost the skin on top of the nose, so he's ulcerated through, and they had to do some kind of reconstructive procedure. This is really a plastic surgery disaster.
You can do many different things with cartilage and bone, removing, replacing, reshaping, but ultimately it's the skin envelope that you're going to come up against, and sooner or later that's going to get scarred to the extent you can't do much more with it.
But in 1990, Michael's mom, Catherine, came to us to set the record straight.
He's had his nose done several times, and he also had a cleft put in his chin. But as far as his cheekbones, his eyes, and all this stuff that people talk about, it's not true.
Michael claims to have the skin lightening disease, vitiligo, but these doctors think he may have actually had his skin bleached.
The medical condition of spontaneous and unrequested lightening of the skin, called vitiligo, typically doesn't occur with evenness over the entire face or arms. It can occur anywhere in the body, but typically it's patchy. That's a different entity. He appears to have had a fairly even and complete lightening of the skin of his face.
If he did indeed have, or does indeed have vitiligo, it's certainly completely understandable why he might want to have his skin bleached so that he has an even tone.
There's a limit to how much surgery you can perform, and he may have passed that limit.
Besides those speculated surgeries, Jackson has had his share of real medical problems over the years. In January of 1984, Michael was doing a Pepsi commercial. Here you can see him behind brother Jermaine with his hair aflame after a pyrotechnic effect went wrong.
And after a second or two, he felt the intense onset of pain, fell to the ground, and several people came to put out the fire and apply ice to his head.
Michael had 2nd and 3rd degree burns on his scalp. Marlon Brando's son, Miko, was working security for Michael and was there when it happened.
Michael also told me that he didn't have any oil or hairspray on his hair. His hair was sprayed with water, which probably kept the fire from spreading and causing even more injury.
Michael had to have reconstructive surgery to his scalp.
We were able to reconstruct the area by using his own scalp. We did not have to use skin grafts nor hair transplants.
The following year, Michael was back in the hospital with a sprained right thumb. He spent the time visiting children there. Then in June of 1990, he was rushed to St. John's Medical Center in Santa Monica, California, complaining of chest pains.
He was admitted to St. John's through our emergency department last night at approximately 9 p.m., complaining of chest discomfort.
The pains were caused by bruised ribs suffered during a 2-hour dance session at his home. Then in 1995, Michael collapsed while rehearsing for an HBO special in New York. His wife, Lisa Marie, sister Janet, and Diana Ross made visits to him while his fans held vigils outside.
Michael! 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 Michael!
On the night he arrived, he was witnessed to have a loss of consciousness, and upon arrival, his blood pressure was very low. In fact, he was in shock.
Michael was diagnosed with dehydration and a stomach virus, but some, like Jeanette Walls of Esquire magazine, think the illness was more manufactured than real after he'd had some disappointing record sales.
He might be taking a bit of a cue from Liz Taylor, from his good friend Liz Taylor. He looks at her hospital stays, and they certainly haven't heard her publicity. Consequently, you have a public outpouring of love and sympathy, and that's very much what Michael Jackson wants and needs right now.
Coming up next, The Lost Song.
One day in your life, you'll remember.
A rarely scene performance from before he was the king of pop and the interview he gave as a teenager.
Did it ever get you down or worry you?
Then, intriguing new details in the Lacey Peterson murder mystery and what we've uncovered about Scott Peterson's mistress.
That's next on Entertainment Tonight. To Entertainment Tonight, as we look at Michael Jackson exposed.
We've uncovered something that hasn't been seen in almost 30 years. It's an early solo performance by Michael from before his solo career really took off. Take a look.
One day in your life, you'll remember a place, someone touching your face. You'll come back and you'll look around.
The year was 1975, and the shy, soft-spoken 17-year-old future superstar was going it alone on Dinah Shore's talk show. The following year, he agreed to a chat.
You have the responsibility, and so have your brothers, of acting like performers and stars all the time. Did that ever get you down or worry you?
Not really. We enjoy it because we've been doing it so long as a part of our personalities. And
But so many other young people look up to you.
yes, that's important for us to set a good example because so many people watch us, and we try to do our best all the time. That's important.
Well, you really do. I mean, all of you. You seem to have a nice balance and a warm relationship.
Ballads had been good to Michael in his quest to strike out on his own. Got to Be There had reached the top 10, while the title song from the hit movie Ben became his first #1 solo hit. But Jackson chronicler and legendary Los Angeles DJ Charlie Tuna says this performance was not indicative of the showman Michael would become.
If this performance were on American Idol, I think Simon and everybody else would have voted him off. It looks like somebody said, Michael, you have to go and do this, and here's the way you're going to do it. Let's practice all these moves that you're going to do in the song and try and pull it off. But it didn't quite work. Too mechanical. There's no emotions there.
Michael did his first solo at age 6, singing Climb Every Mountain from The Sound of Music for a school program. The youngster reportedly brought tears to the eyes of his teachers.
And do you remember any time in your whole life when you weren't performing?
Well, not really.
No.
I've always performed, yeah. Even when we were small kids. Yeah.
By the time of this appearance on Dinah, Michael had already been performing professionally for nearly 10 years.
In my life, I really had one vacation, and that was last Christmas. Outside of that, let me think what I did. I just stayed home. I watched television. I read a lot.
Well, that's a treat. I mean, you know, that's a vacation.
But while Michael's childhood was anything but the norm, his early relationships with his brothers appears to be quite typical.
Well, sometimes Randy just goes in my closet and just takes my stuff out.
Sure he does.
Yeah, I go to school and have my shoes on.
He's got, yes, that's right. Now, I've just thought, I'm just glad to know it happens in other families, too.
While that may not have been one of Michael's best performances, some 20 years later, he and his brothers would be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Now, intriguing